Well, good day there. This is Joe Van Cleve. Welcome to Typing Assignments number 2. And in this episode, we're first going to review all of the entries that we had from Typing Assignment number 1, which was personifying your typewriter, typing a one-page piece that has your typewriter talking from a first-person anthropomorphic perspective. And then afterwards, we're going to give you typing assignment number 2, so stay tuned. For this, the very first of our typing assignments, we had 18 participants, and that was really great turnout. I was more than I expected, actually, and so I want to talk just for a minute about the technical parts of this, how I'm going to present these. I'm going to show these particular pieces close up, and I'm going to have them scan from the top to the bottom. And the reason why is you're looking at a 16 by 9 rectangle in the video, but all the typed pieces are vertical format like this. They're like that. And so if I presented them full height in one shot for you to pause the video and read them, you wouldn't be able to read them because the letters are so small, especially if it is a elite font 12 character per inch type of typing. So what I've done is we're going to show the typing full screen pretty much as I can, and then it's going to slowly crawl up and you'll be able to slowly read it all the way down to the bottom. And you can pause the video at any time and read it at your own pace. I'm gonna make each typing piece somewhere around 45 seconds, depends upon how much talking I'm doing over each one. And so if you get irritated with all the what I'm saying, just mute the audio and you can read it by yourself. But I don't really know of any other good way to do this. I didn't want to put music on top of it for several reasons. I think it might be distracting to you being able to read it. So each one is going to slowly scroll up. It'll be pretty much as wide as I can make it based on the resolution of the scans that you provided online. And you'll just have to read it at your own pace. Mute the audio if you don't like me talking over each one. And then afterwards, I will give my impressions of the overall entries, and then we'll give typing assignment number 2. So there's one other technical part I wanted to talk about. I was able to copy all of your pieces directly off your sites, with the exception of ones that came off of Flickr and Instagram. And for those, I had to do screen captures at the resolution of my little mobile device that I'm using for capturing and editing these videos. So I'm hoping that these are going to be adequate resolution, and I apologize if they're not. This first piece is titled Out of the Silence by Olav, and it was written on an Olivetti Lettera 22 typewriter. And I loved the poetic phrasing in this piece. It's very beautiful. I like the phrase where he says, "Words are frail and always the silence beyond." This piece is titled The Real Agenda of the Typewriter Revolution by John M. And it's done on a 1935 L.C. Smith and Corona standard machine. And I really love the idea that the typewriter revolution was initiated by the typewriters themselves rather than the humans. This is a real humorous piece, and he did a really good job on this, and I enjoyed it a lot. Well done, John. This is a really fun piece by Andy Kev and titled Underwood Model S 1942. And what I think is really fun about this is it kind of talks partly about the wartime experience when this typewriter was made during the war, World War II, and it kind of reminds me of the last piece in this series by David C. titled Erica's Journey that you'll read, which is also the wartime typewriter from the other side, from the German side. But this was a great piece. It really, I like the quote, "It feels good to be young again and wanted." This was a very fun piece, a lot of humor. This is called The Red Rider Recounts and Grumbles by the Reverend Ted Monk. And he's, of course, typical Ted humor, right? But he says, It can be rough being one of the harem, referring to all of his typewriters. And then he says, sloppy seconds is way better than not getting your switch flipped at all. That's pretty great, Ted. But I love this piece about his the Red Ryder, the IBM Selectric 2, same color as Hunter S. Thompson's Selectric. Great job, Ted. Thanks. This next piece is titled A Typewriter's Journey by Andy Nichols. And this is a sweet, sad, melancholy kind of piece about his typewriter, which is a Brother Deluxe 220. And I really like what he did here. It's really a nicely done. And I like the hand edits, the little revisions and all that. I think that's really indicative of the craft of writing in process, and I really like to see that. Thanks a lot. Well done. This next piece is simply titled JVC Typewriter Assignment Number 1 by Darren. This was done on an early 1970s Model 378, and I really like it. It has this interesting servant master concept between the typewriter and the typist. It says, "We work in concert. I am the servant of fingers. I hear only what I feel," which is a really great idea of synesthesia, how the typewriter's senses are all related to what it feels through the keys. Great job, Darren. I really love this one. This is a fun piece by James Lesigno, The Confessions of S.C. Sterling. And this is done on a 1952 Smith Corona Sterling. It's a wonderful piece. It's kind of film noirish or hard-boiled detective story-like feel to it. There's a nice arc of history of the owner from kid to adult in the history of the typewriter. I like that the typewriter smokes, and I like that the typewriter likes that sexy little Olympia. Well done. This piece is simply titled Typing Assignment Number 1 by Bad Engineering, and it's typed on a Remington Quiet Writer 11, and I really love the humorous typewriter personification. This typewriter has a very cool sense of humor, and also it really describes each individual machine in the owner's collection has its own personality, which is very true that we all know this as being typewriter owners and collectors. So, great job. I loved it. This piece by Michael R. PDX is the only one that was bilingual. It's in Venezuelan and English, and I really loved it. This was so interesting. It's typed on a Hermes Baby, and it kind of recounts the life of this typewriter from Switzerland to the U.S. via Caracas. So it's very cool and creative, and a great job, Michael. What I loved about Paul's assignment here called Typing Assignment Number 1 is he has a great sense of mystery about the origins of his typewriter. He says, "I prefer to keep my origins shrouded in myth." And of course, the typewriter is a 1923 Remington Portable. It's certainly seen a lot of history, I'm sure. And he names it the War Correspondent. And so obviously it's seen its share of history, but it was a great piece and well done. This is The Champ by John Monroe, and I loved it. Well, several things. First of all, you don't have to have a photographically perfect typecast. I love the coloration of this thing, the way it goes from kind of a brownish color to lighter color as it scans from top to bottom. I like the idea of I picked up my latest human a month ago. The idea that typewriters collect their owners. This is an Olympia SG3, and it's a quirky typewriter, has a great personality, and you did a great job expressing its personality in this piece. Well done. This piece is Ozma, the story of a typewriter by David Randall, and it's an Olympia SM2, and I loved it. Very creative. It's a sweet, sweet story about the romance of two typewriters, but it's really also about the romance that we have with our typewriters. It's the marriage of two typewriters, Ozma and Aslan, and it's wonderful. Thank you very much. Well done, David. This piece is titled "And I Thought It Was Over" by D. Timothy English, and it's about a lovely Corona Standard typewriter. And it's interesting, the typewriter's name is Tim, and it's really about the great love between typewriters and their owners. And he says in the piece, only you can save abandoned typers like me. Now, isn't that so true about regarding us typewriter collectors? Yeah, I love this piece. It was very touching. Well done. This piece by John Campbell is really special. It's about an old three-bank typewriter, and it's very humorous. And what I love about it is that you always have, if you're a typewriter collector with a number of machines, there's always one machine in your collection that is the one you really want to show off. That's what this machine is. It's the show-off machine, the classic one. And I love it when it says, "Now you must know that I am not a trailer queen." Well spoken. That was funny. This is a great piece. Well done, John. This piece titled "My Story So Far" by Michael was a lot of fun. It is a sweet, cute story about an Olivetti letter at 22, and you did a great job of photographing or scanning it. It's very easy to read, and this was his first attempt at creative writing. Wow, you did a great job, and I hope this is the start of many more creative works. Well done. This piece by John involves a 1971 Hermes baby. And what I think is great about this piece, it's a great story, but also the author is from Istanbul, Turkey, and it's wonderful to have an international audience here on our videos. So welcome, John, and you did a great job. I hope to see many more like this. This piece by Richard involves an Imperial Good Companion 7, and it's sweet and humorous. It recounts the typewriter's past. I like the idea that Richard writes in here that the typewriter, when it's not being used, is sleeping in its case. And that is so true with all the typewriters we have. We like to personify them. We'd like to think that they're sleeping and dreaming of being woken up and used. That is so great, Richard. Well done. This piece is titled Erica's Journey by David C., and it involves a 1940 Erica M. It's a great history of the typewriter from the perspective of World War II Germany to America. Two great quotes in here. He says, "But the need for people to express their ideas is still the same as it was in 1940, and knowing that I am part of something bigger makes me happy." Amen, David. Well done. I was really impressed with the quality of entries in this first in a series of typing assignments. I was especially impressed with the emotional connection that the writers had with their typewriters, and it seems to be like a two-way emotional connection. I was really impressed with the history, the historical part of it, in the personification of the typewriters. All of you guys seem to have this sense of that these machines had been sitting unused for decades, a half, a quarter century or more, and they're finally coming out into the light and being used again. And there's also a sense that the typewriters are very conscious of the ability that they provide the user for creativity. For instance, John M's typewriters are the inspiration for humans. Yeah, that's a great line. I really like that idea. I liked Andy Kev's line where it says, "It feels good to be young again and wanted." And there's kind of a melancholy sense about a lot of these pieces. There's melancholy in the way that the typewriters appear to have been ignored for so long, and then they find later in life this renewed sense of use and youthfulness. I liked Darren's thoughts about this servant-master relationship between the typewriter and the typist, where he says, "We work in concert. I am the servant of fingers. I hear only what I feel, I like that sort of a sense of synesthesia where the typewriter's hearing is related to its feeling the fingers on the keys. And Olav's piece is really neat. He has a lot of interesting poetic concepts in there, like he says, whisper the faintest trace on the test sheet. And he has this thing about before the long sleep, which was the period of disuse of the typewriter for decades and decades. And then he says, words are frail and always the silence beyond. And I really love that. That was really great. There was quite a bit of humor in these pieces too. For instance, Bad Engineering's piece, with his Remington Quiet-Writer 11, he really has this humorous personification of the typewriter, and that each machine in your collection is a different kind of a person. I liked the film noir, kind of hard-boiled detective mood of James Lesigno's The Confessions of S.C. Sterling. That was very cool. And there were so many good pieces. All of these were so good. I like the Paul's piece where he says, I prefer to keep my origins shrouded in myth. And you know, that's true with a lot of the typewriters in our collections. We really don't know the origins of them. We can only suppose and guess of what they've done and what they've seen and what they've written and read. And then John Monroe's The Champ, he says, I picked up my latest Human a month ago. And I love that because the humor of it is that instead of it being about humans collecting typewriters, it's about typewriters collecting humans. That's great. David Randall's The Story of Ozma, The Story of a Typewriter was wonderful. It's the marriage of two typewriters, Ozma and Aslan. Yeah, I really love that. D. Timothy English, his piece, And I Thought It Was Over, where he says, only you can save abandoned typers like me. This really is true. That's what we do as typewriter collectors. We kind of save them. John Campbell's piece was really humorous. I loved it. Now you must know that I am not a trailer queen. Yes. Michael Waterhouse's piece was it was a sweet, cute story about his letter at 22. And John's piece, John from Istanbul, Turkey, it was a wonderful, sweet story. I love it. Richard's piece about his Imperial Good Companion 7, it was really just a sweet recounting of the past history of the typewriter. And then David C's piece about Erica's Journey was great. There's a great sense of history about it, what that typewriter could have seen, having been born in 1940 wartime Germany. So all of these pieces were great. I love the participation that you guys had with this. I've presented these pieces in the same order that they were posted to my blog. So if you go to my blog article, Typing Assignments 1, and you read the comments, those entries in the order that their comments are posted is the order that these are in. So you can kind of track them. And if you want to see the full res versions that have been posted online, go to the blog article and you can copy paste those links into your browser and look at them. Okay, let's talk about typing assignment number 2. So for typing assignment 1, we personified our typewriters. We did a little bit of creative writing, a little fiction, if you will. So for the second assignment, we're going to do something a little more analytical. Instead of writing a fiction piece, I would like you guys to put together a one-page piece on what is it about creating with typewriters that is different or unique than word processing or other methods of writing. So give that a thought, and if you think that you need more than a week's time to finish this and post it online, we can put this off for 2 weeks. We can give it a 2-week deadline. Otherwise, I will give you guys 1 week, and next Sunday, a week from now, you can have your results posted online and have, as we did this time, have the link to your piece posted as a comment to my blog article that will accompany this video. So leave a comment in this video down below if you would like another week to work on this. Otherwise, it'll be one more week, just another week, and we will do this next Sunday again. Happy writing. I hope you guys have a good opportunity to think through what you really like about creating with typewriters that is unique and different and special. And until next time, you guys have yourselves a great day.